Think it's working? Fuck. Just scrambling, get this shit together. I thought I was more ready than I am, then broke a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Figured I'd do some designing for a change. I was last night finding myself doing some design for Instagram, and that, seeing as I have probably the largest audience on Instagram, might be the most helpful to talk through that, show the process, if anyone wants to do it. So the big thing I've been focusing on is like how I control my brand, whatever JW.S, JW.S Studios, whatever the fuck. It's weird to talk about, but I want to try and keep my personal brand intact. And that's kind of fallen through the cracks quite a bit as I just get so busy. I've been working on a contract. I've been trying to fix this goddamn computer forever. I'm trying to edit photos. I'm trying to learn music production. And the thing is like, if you just like put a little thought ahead of time into a lot of this stuff, it really is doable in a way that's, I don't know, there's more refinement to it. I don't know a better way to put it, because like if you're just, for me, like using the default like typewriter stuff, like if you came here from the Instagram post, like that killed me to post just now, just because like the fonts suck, colors suck, like it's just this thumbnail. So I'm trying to create a system that is very scalable. And if you know Sketch at all, you know how you can use symbols, and symbols can be very, very powerful. And I think I'm still kind of ironing out how I want to apply the use of symbols throughout. Yeah, because if you have to do all this every single time by hand, like, good fucking luck. Like, this better be well, you better not have anything else to do all day, because it's probably going to take a while. I think that's being dramatic, but the big thing, oh shit, I'm sliding this thing around. Because there's definitely like a point of diminishing returns. This may slide over here. That's just the chat window, if there's anyone here. I hid the analytics thing today. I'm just not gonna fucking worry. So if you are here and you have questions, definitely let me know. I mean, this is different from what I've ever done. I've been absolutely terrified of having people over my shoulder as I'm designing. I don't know why. I've always been super self-conscious about it. I think every designer is, so this will be an interesting exercise to see if I can actually do it, or if I'm just going to be dog shit and come up with nothing. But I can kind of get you guys caught up to speed on kind of where I'm at right now. So it all really started with this post here. So if you go to my Instagram, get rid of these bookmarks. So I do the grid, basically is what it comes down to. I have these inset borders. I want to make it as easy as possible to do. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to like recreate it every time. So what I did is I just made a very simple symbol in Sketch. So if you don't know Sketch, don't know symbols, basically you create an element that you can reuse in other places. So for me, this is sort of the master of everything. So if I update this one image, all these images update. And I'm going to get into kind of what I'm thinking with this. And if anyone's here, it'd be interesting to hear feedback on whether that's even a good idea. Some of it you probably can't talk me out of, because I think it's an interesting idea, but I'll get to that. Whether it's good or bad, I mean, people can just ignore it at the end of the day. But the idea being, like, for me to just go in, so if I just double click on this, so basically now I'm in the symbol and I can just modify what is being shown. So I have a couple examples in here. I was kind of stress testing the system to see how it looks with different types of images. I don't know why. So with the zoom and sketch, it drives me nuts. Like sometimes there's these edges that show up when they're not actually there, so I get to like fucking around and moving stuff when it doesn't need to be moved around. And sorry if the cursor is crazy. I'm using my fucking tablet again, which is good because my wrist started hurting. But the byproduct is I get really fucking spazzy, so what are you gonna do? Oh shit. No sketch. Oh, hang out with little Mike on a Friday night, huh? It's pretty sketch. Real sketch. Different kind of sketch on this one. But as you see, like I just update that image and it is applied everywhere. So it's kind of nice and kind of wild, and this is where, like, if you just do the legwork up front, just making sure that these are very thought out placements in terms of design, it's doable. Like, I think there's some things that are going to require some individual hand-holding, I guess is the right way to say it. Like it's going to require specific attention in order to get it right. Like, you can't make a system that scales. At a certain point, you try and make a system that scales to everything, and you just kind of have this kind of androgynous, boring fucking template. And it looks like a template. And I think what I like about how this is all being applied is that it doesn't really look like a template. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. But God, I'm just like a fucking goldfish. So let me reorganize this a little bit. Just move this shit out of the way. These are all alternates. So this is the main. This is kind of how I do it. Is like I kind of have like a main thread, and then I just like I start dragging down versions and making alts that are kind of like in line with it. Just so I can see, like, all right, sometimes they're explorations, sometimes it's like, if I'm creating a template like this, like maybe one of these instances where I talk about the TV app, like I want to do it in two different ways. And then I just have these down here, and then I can just kind of like shift drag and just kind of visually see how they work together, and then go here and just export those guys. So, but the idea that I'm playing around with is, and this is the version of the template where it's not, or where I want to punch in, because this is the images that's exported for the screensaver and the Apple TV. But sometimes for Instagram, like it's just really, you got to kind of punch in a little bit, and just have like a different crop. I don't know, you can't get away with the same sort of complexities on the gram. I mean, you can once you get into stories, and I'll kind of show how I'm trying to scale to that too. But primarily, what I'm trying to achieve right now is, I think there's an opportunity for galleries. I posted one the other day, and it really just showed basically these two slides right here, where this is sort of like the pulled in version. What I don't really like about this is the fact that it's just like such a horizontal crop. Yes, I could like expand the mask out so it's it goes full height, but I kind of like the knee borders. The idea is not really to get an idea of, I think this is where it's conflicting, is like it looks like the registration marks of a print, but I would never want to print something in this specific layout. And so with those images, like, because I have it set to a mask, I can then adjust the crop. And these are two different canvases, so that's why I'm having to select both of these images. I can just move that around, and then each of these export as individual posts, so like as they slide between them, it kind of looks like that continuous slide. But that kind of got me thinking about, like, I like the idea of stories, but I don't like the lack of permanence with them. Like, if I'm going to put a bunch of effort into a story, I'm kind of bummed that it's just going to go away. And so I was just thinking out loud, I was like, well, how do I make a permanent story? Well, I use the fucking galleries I was just playing around with. So whether I start getting into different storytelling aspects, it could be kind of like a quasi, I don't know, I guess like behind, like if there's anything interesting behind the image, or if it's like a sequence, just different ways of like, I don't know, because I don't post a ton. I try to be more purposeful with what I post, so if I'm going to post less, I still want, I don't know, I still want there to be some relevance to my image and some staying, or like, I don't know if it's staying power, I don't know what the right word is. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not gonna figure that word out. Words are hard. But it's making putting more effort into what I'm putting out there, because it really feels like I'm on autopilot right now, and I'm watching, not that this is the indicator, but I think it is an interesting indicator, is like I've lost 800 followers or something in the last 6 months. Like, I'm not losing sleep over it. It's probably because I posted less. I kind of took a hiatus for a while, but I think I'm not gonna just like turn about face and just start posting a ton just so I can get my followers up. Like, I don't fucking care. I think all this comes back to what I want to do with my time, and I want to shoot and I want to design around it. So I think this is also a good exercise opportunity to just like, I don't know, if I do like some more like editorial, I just chose a random font here, but the idea being like, maybe there's a story behind it. I don't know. I'm a shit writer. Problem is like the form factor. Like this, I kind of stopped midway because I wanted to kind of earn this stuff out on a stream. But this is never going to be readable. And I just changed this background color just before. God damn it. I'm like, sorry. I should explain the whole thing first before I just dive into all this offshoots. So the idea being, tell the story, and then kind of my e-commerce marketing background coming into it. So it's like making sure people know how it's available. It's available as prints, it's available in the TV app, screensaver, and then the website. And the order of that, I'm not totally sure on. I kind of want to have, I was thinking about this. If I move the order a little bit, shift drag's not working. Because really prints are the priority at this point. Why is this? Kidding me? Order. Prints are the priority for me. I think the TV app and the screensaver are doing very well, which is great. It's a cost for me. It's not a revenue generator. I think one person subscribed or became a follower on Patreon, and I appreciate your $1 donation. I mean, it's not gonna cover all the costs, but it's rad that someone appreciates it enough to donate $1. Like, I don't know, little shit like that. It's pretty rad. But yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how I can tell this whole story just by updating one image, basically. And then I can just have these export every time. So I can just select them all, export it, exports to a folder. I can drag all those images to my phone, create a carousel very quickly. So that's kind of the explanation of where it's at. Definitely if you have questions or if there's anyone here, fuck knows. Yeah, I was playing around with background color too. I'm not totally sold. Because I was also applying it here. Did I put those on a blend mode? No, I didn't. I think there's something kind of nice about. Oh, fuck. Oh, I took it off. Put it on multiply. This needs to be on multiply. It is, but. What? Some of my blend modes apply in Sketch, which is really strange. But yeah, I think there's something nice to make each of these unique. By doing a custom background, do I really think it's going to be that color? No. Ideally, it's something so I can just select all these canvases, and again, I'm sure there's a better way of doing it. I think there's a way, I don't know if there's a way to set like a specific color and then I update one color and it updates every application of that color. I want to say there is. There's something with styles. Would be nice. And also copy. So if I had a way to update copy in one place, then it just kind of pushes everywhere else. But yeah, I need to go through. So I was just doing some compositing on this guy. So I had to fix this. So I just redid this one because it was meant for smaller. It was meant for the website. And actually simplified it a bit. So this is the old version. This is the original, kind of on dark. I kind of like I have this as a separate. I kept the dark one as a separate file, so I have both applications. But I do tend to like not that. So I can get rid of this. I mean, I built this whole thing from scratch. Like the door had a wood texture on it, and the other one, it's all fucked up because the blend modes right now. And that's a whole other conversation. Z-Mix, it's good, man. Ready to learn some designs? Yeah, I could probably get rid of this shit. Yeah, so with this, again, oh fuck. I don't know if it's something people are interested in or not. Like how to build these basically from scratch. So really all this is just like, it's 4 shapes, one like shadow with a gradient mask, so you can see like the light coming down. Gets a little lighter. And this is where I'm gonna want to, for the final version, when I get it really kind of settled, putting this then into DaVinci Resolve and running, what's it called? Film nitrate. Because it does like a nice softening, and one thing I kind of do a little bit of is you add like a blur. It kind of softens it up because there's no like perfect pixel edges. And this kind of comes back to like emulating film and all this shit. Oh my god. Fuck. God damn it, JP. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Oh my god. Wow. Good thing someone was here. Holy fuck. Well, I guess I just did, I don't know, I got 20 minutes just with me on the screen. Fuck. Oh, man. Well, I can give the short version since I don't know if... fucking hell, man. That's really... Streaming 101, you know? Show the right shit. God damn it. So this is what I was talking about. And this is the problem, is like I have my little fucking iPad hooked up and it's down here and I'm trying to jam a bunch of windows in it. I know it sounds like a bunch of bullshit excuses. Alright. So I rattled on the last time, we'll do this quickly. This is the initial post. So if I update this one image, it probably would have helped if I showed everything. So it is applied everywhere. So if I'm trying to do the story bit, if I'm trying to show the details, if I'm trying to talk about the TV app, the screensaver, and then even for stories, I'm still kind of working through that. Really, this is like this is like e-commerce fucking marketing side of my brain, as I was talking about before, but just trying to be smart with creating those symbols. And then, yeah, like I was saying before, trying to stress test this. What image is it showing? Yeah, so like light images, dark images, like what happens when we have different copy on top of it, different background colors. It's all shit I'm figuring out. But I guess I was talking about compositing with this. Fuck, I already deleted the layer. Where did I delete it? Oh. God damn it, I'm such an idiot. This is like a day in the life. This is good. It's good people see this. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. It's a roller coaster ride. This is the original one. So this is what I was talking about. Had all the different textures. This is the original one where it's on dark. That's on the website. This has all of like these different atmospherics and cast lights and shadows. And I could rattle on about that forever. But to me, this one seems a lot cleaner. Like getting like the perspective of like the inset. I did that because it kind of looks like my media center, which is stupid. How's that storm? Is the storm fucking loud again? You guys gotta help me here. I'm just hapless. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that fucking thing down. It's always storming, bro. Every time I'm working, man, I always put it on. I think there was one stream where I didn't put it on and it was weird. And I didn't realize it till the very end, because that's how observant I am. Yeah, so I'm going to figure some shit out. I gotta fix this. I'll just do that right now. I don't know if that's as valuable. Whatever. Yeah, and the storm tower is to kind of mask a lot of my stupid noises I probably make. All those awkward silences, you know. Gotta hide them somehow. This is another, so I made the desk from scratch. Fuck. This is where I'm gonna get into trouble. Always go bigger when you do compositing. Like, punch in, because this is the shit. Like, I basically drew these shadows by hand, or like the gradient tools, and then all these different like soft masking and brushing shit in. Ah, fuck. And so now if I just like drag it. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it's like, no, it's probably not gonna be the one. Oh my god. I might just do it another time. Unless there's a strong demand to watch me composite and redo all this lighting. And I fucking hated I think the tabletop came out well and all the shadows came out well. But like the shadows on the legs, I don't have a great reference. Like it didn't look like they were in the shadows. This looks more like it. The light source is here. Yeah. JP, it's not just design, man. We're saving lives here. This is as serious as it gets. This is an IKEA, man. Started looking at my uplift desk. Just has these really simple posts. It looks like an IKEA. I made it look cheaper than it actually is, which is not good. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and if there's any non-furniture questions, design related, happy to talk about it. Or talking about how good the Kings are gonna be compared to the Blues. I mean, we could talk about that all day. So this is way too small. So I've tested this sort of stuff. And what's weird, so I was trying to grapple with this, of how I show both prints. If I can consolidate these two into one, I think would be better. This, my God, this felt like a lot of different marketing sites you see, and it's something. You update the image in Photoshop, does it auto update all the versions in Sketch? No, it does not. So that's where I have to use Photoshop for all the image production. Like the things you can do in Sketch are super limited, and I try and do as much as I can in Sketch, just for that reason of like replicating styles or like images update everywhere. So for here, I just still have that same, like the symbol, but on top of it, I have some additional lighting. Like I have like, it got messed up because I rescaled it, but so if there's like a bevel on this display, although there really shouldn't be actually, I should get rid of this. But I have the signature over in the bottom, and I have that set. There's like a blend mode on it, so it'll always show up no matter what. But basically, longer, no. And that's why like I'm trying to drop Photoshop. I'd love just to use Sketch or Figma, because I don't want to pay for Adobe anymore, because they can go do something. I don't know where I'm going with that, but they suck, and I don't want to pay them any money. But the lack of control and like manipulations of images is like you can't do shit. I'm sure you could start making some gradients and start doing some airbrushing, but like the combination of just all the different filters, layer effects, blend modes, even simple things like inverting an image, like you can't do in Sketch. So that's where like Sketch is really, I mean, I'm a fucking dinosaur. JP probably knows. I've been rattling on about CS6 forever, and I think it's been like 12 versions since CS6 came out. But the fact that like what you can do with Sketch is really powerful if you think things through and think in like a system sort of fashion. I like the double layouts. I think you should try aligning the type somehow to organize the stuff a bit. Yeah. I think there's something to it. Like for me, like I liked how these were kind of going off the edges. I started thinking if I just like break it, but to me this feels kind of contrived. What I was getting at was like, whatever this story portion is, whatever like backstory there is to it, the fact that it's going to have this kind of cropped in view where it doesn't feel like you're navigating a space. And that's, you have to think up front, but you don't always have to know what you're doing early enough. True, you don't. I'm living proof of that. I have no clue what I'm doing. I just know like how certain things want to be applied, and there's always ways of going back, and there's always like you gotta redo symbols and nested symbol structure. That's on sketch. Yes. I think we're talking about the same thing. Are we? I don't know anymore, man. But it's, regardless, I don't know if there's any sort of delay, but yeah, I think consolidating to one slide, it's like, do people really give a fuck that like it's on matte paper and not acrylic? And yes, I went through and I did a mock-up of these. Does anyone fucking care? Not particularly. Actually, I think I did the shadows in sketch in this, on this one at least. They're not great, and you could probably tell. Yeah, the lag on this, like, trying to track conversations and have a dialogue get kind of fucking dicey. But I think we agree. I think that's the short of it. Yeah, price point, that's something I've been wrestling with this shit too, is like, because I started going into like depth of like, oh, with the screensaver, like assuming people are gonna zoom in and want to read this shit, like they don't care. Like they want to know the screensaver, what it does, how much does it cost. Shows pictures and it's free. Like that's all it needs to do. So price is like a really kind of sticky thing. I think I do a decent job of it on my site. Oh, see, I don't even know where I'm at. Going to my own 404 page. That doesn't work. God damn it. Oh, my site's a fucking mess still. 3 years in. Yeah. Oh, that's why I'm not using the right. Whoa. Whoa, when did that happen? Fuck. That shit's so broken. Just gotta laugh at a certain point. But I think this has done a decent job of just like getting people educated quickly, and it's like, how do I bring the genesis of that kind of quickly? And price, I think price is a selling point on the TV app and the screensaver, but I don't think it is when it comes to the print. I don't think I'm the cheapest, so I don't think it's something to tout. I think the 1 to 10, I don't know how important that is to people. I always thought that would be important, and I'm still gonna do it no matter what. But also vibe. Yeah, I think touching on like what is all entailed. I think it's a very different path if you want to go with the matte acrylic versus the framed approach. So, I think it like requires a more thought on like how I convey all this information and what the hierarchy is. I was content with just saying like matte acrylic and paper, and just saying there's two materials, and I think people deducing the fact that like one's ready to hang, one requires like matting, and you can can do some custom matting, custom framing, so you can kind of put your own vibe on it. But again, that's JW.S, people care between matte versus acrylic, price and vibe were both in reference to people caring. Yeah. I don't know if you're saying, oh, dude, I don't know. It's sagging, man, my brain. They care between matte versus acrylic, price and vibe. Yes. I think, yeah. So that's where it's like, I don't want to say too much. I think if I get what you're saying is like I should call those things out, like the price disparity between them and kind of like the ready to hang as is versus with matting. I always see marketing sites get into just going too deep too quick and trying to say everything at once, and that I'm not saying that's what that is at all, but I'm just super sensitive of it. Like I'd rather people just know there's two options, and then go from there. I think because I don't even know if the 1 of 10 is even that important. I'd be curious to understand if anyone actually gave a shit. These registration marks can go. But yeah, it's like, how do you show both? And I think what's interesting, did I do it? So I deleted it. I think off the top and off the bottom is kind of interesting too. It's like matte acrylic has to go at the top because it requires the cast shadow. The one thing I was kind of grappling with is like the signature. That's a whole other thing. Yeah, I don't know what's safe to assume with this stuff. I think in my mind it's obvious that, well, I think probably the matte acrylic one's the one that's a bit, people aren't really sure. I should probably clarify that it's ready to hang. Because there is something nice about that. Like, you get the paper print and you've got more work ahead of you before that thing's fucking ready to go. Yeah, I think I'm partial to this too, just because it doesn't interfere with the left or right, but yeah, some of these images aren't the greatest as it applies to this image. Oh, it's full bleed, that's right. I also think you can create a caption system with that info, like the product description. Well, so the problem is like the form factor size. Like, I kind of tested it to see what I can get away with. I think even shit like this it's readable, but it gets blurry. I don't want to make something that people have to zoom in for. Like, I want people to just kind of passively, lazily just view it. And that's where it's almost like, if I do need to make those things clear, I can unpack the story a little bit of like, it gets a little long and it starts burying TV app in the screensaver. Oh, caption in IG. Yeah, I don't want to be too salesy is the thing. And what there also is I'm trying to figure out how to tie in my store with Facebook and Instagram. So I don't know if I can do it with a gallery slide. Tyler, I don't know if you're still here or not. That would be interesting. If I could just, or if I can link second and third images in a gallery to individual products. Because that way I could do the heavy lifting on the product. It's just like, hey, here's the mat, link out to that. Here's the paper, link out to that. And that has all the descriptions and all that shit. Tyler? Bueller? Yeah, that'd be great if I could. See if I can do a quick test. Fuck. Gallery, 3 images. I don't know if you can. Yeah, I don't know if you can do individual edit. Fuck, I don't know. That would be good. That'd be good to know if I could do it. Yeah, I miss you too, bud. Appreciate the thinking on a Saturday. Popping in on this shit. Yeah, if you're ever out here, or if we can travel again. I mean, I'm fun employed for, I don't know. It may be a month, or it may be 4 months, 5 months. So, if any time in there we can travel to get out there, do some golfing. But yeah, I don't know, weird fucking time. But yeah, I miss you too, bud. Hope everything's going well out there. Alright. Yeah, start working on that golf game, bud. We'll definitely have to play. If you're just down in San Diego, I can cruise that way. It's definitely been a minute. Might golf this week though. Let's see. It's gonna be ugly. Alright. So yeah, the other part of this is stories. So how do I keep production high on stories? And I know I'm kind of glossing over the other part. I think I just kind of want to give a high introduction. I think these are all like, so JP's, he works at one of the old agencies I used to work at. Super, super talented dude. So good to hear his thoughts on that. You know, been playing a ton. Fuck. Let's not play golf then. Well, let's definitely not bet because I'll get smoked. Just give me a stroke a hole, and then we can talk. Fuck. As far as I know, there's no way to cycle through blend modes on this, which is really annoying. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to just like write shit about images. I know that's not a super eloquent way of putting it. But again, I can take that same image. Oh, 90. Fuck. Wrong layer. least I'm showing my screen when I fuck up. That's the important thing. So again, I can take that same one. It might require me coming in. Okay, so this, I'm trying to do an overlay with a color that's selected from the image to kind of create an embed, like a little buffer, because you can always do like a black sheen over things. I think it kind of looks funky, so I'd rather do something that's a bit more custom. This is where, like, if I could just find one image or one like place to have a color swatch, update all these overlays, background colors, like it could be one color but like at an opacity. So like the full opacity would be the background color shit here, and then like maybe 50% of that same color is what makes the overlay, so it all kind of ties it in together. I don't know, JP, if you are still here and if you know how to do it. So aggressive with edits. Me? I don't do any like photo edits in there. That's for sure. I used to edit photos in Photoshop, but yeah, Photoshop for me is like all compositing, generating images. I think shit like this is just, I don't know. I mean, I started, I'll date myself, some of the pre-asset, like Google image search being any good. Oh, fuck. Just have to like paint all your own stuff. Yeah, I think I was looking at that of like an exclusion. I need to find a way of like just cycling through it. And so that's the thing, like, I think exclusion's probably the closest, because I think the color sampling like the red, which is in the shadow, which I think gives it kind of like a nice kind of tone on tone feel. But what I also will do is I'll create an alternate, or maybe it's so that is 100% opacity. So if I do like overlay, no, see, that's getting too much into the. See, even like if it's a tone, like it's got like some of the red hues in it, it just looks like dog shit, and it looks so templatized, and that's what I'm trying to run from. And I could always duplicate it, have two of them. But this becomes less and less scalable. Oh, I know what I can do. Blend mode on the type. I think there is a blend mode on the type. No, there's not. Yeah, I mean, that's where I was running exclusion. I think on the type. I think I have it on my site now. Yeah. Because I had to, this has been such a fucking disaster. Because I had duplicate navigations, and then you have duplicate carts, and then they have different Z indexes. So I've been using a lot of exclusion lately. But I just thought of something. So if we do the same sort of system, so if we make another, so this is what you can do, is you can create a symbol. Post color, I don't know, the names don't really matter, but what I can do now is, so if I, wait, the fuck? Oh, I made the whole fucking thing, okay. So if I create a symbol with this, post color. So this, if I go in and edit it, See these lines? I don't know if that's going to show up on the stream or not, but now I can choose that color from here. And so if I copy this, I could insert it. But if it's going to be a full overlay like that, so instead of doing all this like layering, depending on the post and kind of the color I'm choosing, I can edit master here. Actually, I don't know if this is going to work, if blend modes will work within solution. Save. It does. There you go. So, if I, fuck, but that's gonna be, well, I'm curious. So I have my post color overlay. If I set this as the background, I wonder if it will, if it's excluding nothing, is it gonna show up? Background color. Fuck yeah. There's a way. Yeah, I mean, I think doing blend modes on the type, I think helps. Fuck. What? Get over there, you bastard. Exclusion. Yeah, so I don't know, like, depending on the color choices, whether this will be something that's always gonna need updating. So this is where, like, stress testing is always stress test, kids. So you select your master, edit master, go back to a dark image, back to instance, and we've got issues. Fuck. Oh man. And so I want to get into like a place where I'm like not having to dick around with I don't want to dick around with like different opacities. Like I want to do a lot of work so I can be really, really lazy on a day-to-day. Because I know like if I can carve out the time and like think this shit through, like my chances of actually posting something properly are much, much better. What if you made a symbol with the image and zoom in on a spot of the image and punch in super far so the symbol is essentially just a color swatch of the image? Am I making sense? Yes. I wonder if you could do like a... Can you blur symbols? Cannot. That'd be great if you could just like get the symbol with the image and then apply just like 100 pixel radius blur on it or whatever. And basically get like an average color. It might be kind of muddy most of the times, but I mean, if it's generally bright, it should be fairly bright. I think that's what you're talking about. Zoom in on the image. I think you're making... it's not whether you're making sense, it's whether my brain can comprehend sometimes. That is the ultimate question. So also, what I've done is I churned a lot on like Instagram templates. So I have all these elements saved that I can just kind of call on. Like so Insta elements. What was I getting from here? Fuck, there was something. Oh, but so this is where it's like date selected. I have all these like templates made, but the problem is I don't fucking use them, and that's a whole other thing. Why? Why would it go there? I think I'm... Why is it rotated? What are you doing? Oh, because the image folder's rotated. Rad. Okay. So yeah, I think we were talking about the same thing. So you do get the color from the image. To me, I don't mind so much picking a color that is kind of like a very specific, because I think there's some images where like maybe this nets out to like this really dark color, but to me I want to have something that's pulled more from like from here. Let's see, 324, 824. 324, 824. Oh, really? What? Where's it? Oh, I have it here. That makes more sense. Kind of interesting effects. Wait, post color. Is this going to affect all of them? It's not. Oh, shit. So, I mean, I think that's a scalable solution also is a way to... I just have to like fuck with blend modes or something. But even then, like it's just, I want consistency and easy. Like they really go hand in hand. So what's this color? Let's see. Can you do... I spend so much time just Googling shit. Sketch is like not a very complex application. So if there's anyone new to it, like I think symbols is the biggest thing to wrap your head around. And once you kind of get that, it's easy. But symbols are really where the value is. Find and replace color. Hold the phone. Oh. Include all opacities of this color? Fuck. Yeah. What you got? Damn. So there is a way to do it. Ooh. Shit like this, like, yeah. I've done a 180 on this. Like, I love this kind of like analytical, like system. It's such like a fucking cliche now, like design systems. Back in the day, nah, I'm not gonna go there. So you can add tint to... So if I want to, I can override it with a tint. That's interesting. I don't want to do that. It is good that I can fuck with blend mode and opacity. I think as long as it's like something that's sustainable. I'd say this is where like I'll need to be very specific with what images or what color, like where in the color, whatever, wide world of colors. Master. What is this shit about? Yeah, it's on my stream. This is so stupid. Drives me nuts. And then it's gone. So this color. So basically, it's like designating like a general place. Not wanting to push saturation too far one way or the other, being consistent there. Really about just like modifying hue. Like if I can find like a decent like, I don't think it's always going to be one spot and just a matter of modifying hue. I think it's going to get fairly repetitive. But I mean, it's like dark images, light images. I think that's a reasonable value that, I mean, dark images will have that. No, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So I want to test this. So if I'm using this here, this background color, my layers are really gross right now. So please don't judge me. Whoa, what are you doing? Oh, it's on an exclusion, that's why. Okay. Okay. Now that I know I can modify appearance here, I don't need to do it in the master. I'd rather just leave this normal. Turn to instance. So that makes all the background ones really easy. So that means this needs to go in the screen. Oh, so it's doing like a... Fuck. You could do multiple? Or am I just overthinking this something? So it was running a screen on the exclusion? Is that right? That's interesting. But see, like it already looks worse in my eyes. Like I don't... That's using the post color. Is this? This is not. Post color. Oh my god, my layers are gonna be the end of me. Off. It's overlay. Oh, it is using it. Fuck it. Folder. So that's the original overlay. What was that set to? Dark exclusion. Sorry, I'm getting really like sidetracked. So I'm curious if this like replace. Let's say I make these all. And if you want to know how stupid I am, like this is the kind of shit I just do on my off time, just like off white on white. Because Off-White, the company, like, just... Maybe everyone else is getting a little weird and stir crazy with quarantine. So that's, I better learn this one. Command Option F. I do... Holy shit, look at this thing. Preserve original opacity. I think that's key. Let's go fucking blue. This is like kind of what you do in developing is to see, you modify a value, like what's going to happen. Like how is this all shaking out? Oh, it did the fill too. I might not even need to do I might not even need to do that color system. If I can just get them all consistent and know what the color values are, and maybe just have swatches and just do find and replace. So like the simpler the systems are, the better, basically. but that's super fucking interesting. What else changed? No, that changed. That text changed. Okay. Interesting. So this is the value of Sketch, and like I don't know this is going to be way too boring. I just haven't done a design stream, and me thinking out loud through some of these things is, I mean, I like doing it, but whether other people are actually interested in it or not, that's something else. So talking this out loud is like, if I set a color, it's like I'll have to track 3 colors. It's like background, text on light, text on dark. Unless I choose like a very middle tone and it's always just low contrast. And that's something that could work on whatever light and dark is. Okay. So whatever this color is, I think just using 20%. I don't want it too heavy. Post color. That's the bottom. So that's also the benefit of doing like creating your own assets, unless you fuck up like this. You can make things like pure white and have just ultimate control over how things bleed off or interact with backgrounds. Can't always do that with shit you find. Then you start getting into like really hacky type stuff. That's not always the greatest. So this actually, I wonder if I like just having non-blend mode stuff, but hard light. It's even better than just normal. Yeah, it is better. But again, so you start making changes like that, just want to check this goes. And what I should be doing also is making symbols out of these TVs and devices. So anytime going forward, if I decide I want to change it, I change it once and it changes it in all places. And this is where you can get into nested symbols. I can have a symbol of the TV, open that up, and within that is the symbol of this main print image. And so when you update the image that's within all those other symbols of the TV, it'll update all those as well. So it gets a little kind of hairy with like keeping track of, because you can get into like a weird nested, like overthinking shit type problem. And then you modify something. And also some of the problems, like if you, so I have a master template. I'm gonna sit down. I've been standing for a minute. So I've been doing a ton of just like brand exercises in the background for myself. Trying to like test it out. It's always been in the background just because I've been so focused on client work. We're doing photos or getting distracted with music production for whatever reason. But trying to create these as symbols. So whatever I modify, oh, they're not symbols. Why are they not symbols? Well, when I eat my words, then where the fuck are these coming from? Where the master's not even... What? What the fuck? So, what I was trying to say is, like, so all these different type styles, I've modified these several times. And what's really obnoxious about Sketch is there's no way to check what attributes are overwritten. So let's say I have an artboard here. I have some text, lorem ipsum. I set this, so you can go this document. So this is where if you save the style, it'll show up here. And if you do any sort of negative kerning, like especially when it's really big, you get into like kind of heavy negative or larger negative kerning. And so these menus are just fucking useless. I appreciate them trying to represent it, but can't fucking do it. So there. So if I modify this, and then so I go to what more? So they moved all this shit. Oh, so it's just right here. Update. So, oh, that's I updated the wrong one. God damn it. Well, basically, like if you update this master one, it updates everywhere else. But if you have stuff like body copy, so this like how it's aligned. So for different layouts, I can go into my other Insta library. This is where I've just gone off the rails with it. Put my symbols there. So I tried to come up with like all these different instances of like, what do I want to say? Like, what sort of data points do I have? And the thing is like all these are trying to be flexible. So that's what's nice is like you can have the text like kind of fill to the bottom basically. So if I start taking out copy, it's always going to hold that baseline. But what this doesn't do is this forces an overwrite. So if I modify this style, it forces the overwrite of the alignment. And changing alignment already makes me off of, or like deviate from the style, which it actually is with it right now. So that's to the top. This one's to the bottom. But you can see, because I had to move it to the bottom, this little asterisk means that it's not, it was originally based off of that style, but it's not using that. So I haven't quite figured that one out yet. And that's why I'm always scared to update styles. And my styles have been changing. I've been progressively going, like I used to go like really heavy negative kerning, and I've slowly kind of like eased out of it. It used to be like 10 or I think it might have been like around 15 or something. But now it's 5. What's this? And so this is already out. Reset style. Oh, it is at 15. That's the actual. Oh, I just didn't update it. Good. So this is like where I can go through, and ideally in an ideal world, and with Sketch you can have these sort of like trickle out to other files. So ideally anytime I have that H1 anywhere through here, you'll see like a little badge notification up here. It says library updates available. You click it and it updates and it applies. It shows you a list of everything that's changing. But if you have any sort of complex file, like you're not going to check all of them. You're just going to apply it, and then you're going to have to go back and redo a lot of work. So again, this is like that system approach where if you don't do the thinking up front, you can really, the system can work against you more often than not. And this sort of stuff, I'm still trying to figure it out. I think it's a little overkill, and it's a problem because I don't use it. I don't know why. And it's based off of the same thing of like, oh shit. What? See, this is stupid. This is exceptionally stupid. Why would I have so many? So this is, I'm guessing this is like when I didn't, Might have been a late night. I don't know. There's literally no reason to have a 3x2 8 column and a 3x2 6 column, 4 column. Like, you can use one large 3x2 aspect ratio everywhere. Doesn't matter, as long as you're not scaling up. Like, that's the beauty of it. These should not exist. So again, that's going to be more work, but it's just kind of the learning process. Why is this different? That's why there's a background color on all of these. Turn that off. Background come up to 30. So again, like, what's going to be weird and something I've grappled with too is, like, how much do I want to lean into this background color? Do I want to start having like a grid of posts? Like, on my grid, do I want it to start looking like, oh my god, where is it? The layers. Where it's kind of tone on tone, but then you start putting them like next to each other. So like something like this. Fuck. Oh, no, I did that a stupid way. I should be sampling that and trying to get it closer to this. So granted, I won't have this divide, and it'll be more seamless, but it's kind of interesting because part of this is like trying to do something different. Because I don't know of anyone who's really using the galleries to tell a story, which I think like this portion here is where I think is going to be the most interesting. This is all like salesy marketing, and I have it buried for a reason because I don't really want to do it. I mean, I do. I want people to have the TV app, have the screensaver, buy prints. And this is the weird duality of like doing this photo shit and trying to make some money off of it is like, I don't want to push that, but at the same time, the more people buy, the less client work I can do, the more energy I can put into shit like this. There's so much weird dualities and stuff that I haven't kind of reconciled in my head. But basically, I found that like I have to care even if I don't want to care about some of these things. Like, the net gain is positive. So yeah, that's probably more information than required. So, making progress. So still have this as the same template. I think this is good. I had the alternate up here where if I want to go full bleed, but I don't know. I think it's nice, and this is where like the background also comes in again of, do I want to have continuity where it feels like there's like this background space. I think it works well on my site. I don't know what I just clicked on. I remapped my tablet button, so I don't know where I'm going. Photos, God, I gotta fix those. Maybe this could turn into a Webflow session too. Does it work? It does work. So this feels like you're kind of panning a space. Granted, there is a seam, and I need to fix that, and that's not that hard. It's just, again, like what I have bandwidth for, unfortunately, is it's increasing for shit like this, which I love. Like, having all these half steps and just like half-ass type, like the post for this stream today, totally fucking half-ass, and it drives me crazy. The fact that there's seams between this, and the fact like to get this to work like this, so to have this sort of like scroll in and then being able to pan out was more work than I can even it wasn't that much work. It was a good amount of work. But like wrapping my head around it was a problem. But one thing I haven't been able to wrap my head around is like, how do I get this fucker to stick now? And I don't know if there's a way or not. It's like, but it's like, who cares if you're going back to the top? Like, you should buy a frame print anyways. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just getting distracted. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the sliding through a space. So whether like I want to just lean into that, that's where like I think this will be a good option to have, and this is where I need to start collecting my alts. And as much as I want to pull those together, I think I need to start creating some separation. So this master post is always going to be that. So I can leave that in its own sort of little realm. And so this is where I'll start lining up my alts. And you can see like Insta post 2, 3. So as they export, also what you can do in Sketch is if you start using like slashes in your artboard names, it will export those out into folder structures. So if I do, so this will export out into a folder on my desktop or wherever I put it, JW.S underscore Instapost, and it'll be /2. This one will be like file name 3 within that folder. And I can I can create like a whole folder structure. So I'll probably do these as JW.S Insta story. And the problem is like, I don't know. I've grappled with this too. Of like, I like having the full image, but if I have it here, do I need to do it? I don't know if. I think a lot of people muted me on stories, probably because I just kept doing the same shit all over. Like, the analytics on this kind of stuff is always really fascinating. Like, I think at most, like 14,000 followers, I think. The higher engagement stories see like 600 people. But are those same 600 people seeing posts? And of those same ones who see the post, how many are going to go through and actually slide and see full view? I've always learned, well, I've become more cautious of assuming people's interest levels. Like, you're going to be so sorely disappointed if you expect anything but the least from people. And that's not like a testament, or that's not anything on people, and people are coming to it. Like, if they're not engaging it, that's on me. That is 100% my fault. Like, and that's like in e-commerce and web design, there's like you go through design reviews and you hear about carousels, and like, I swear to God, like, it's still brought up like it's some novel fact of like, well, you know, people don't actually engage with carousels. It's like, bullshit. Most of them they don't, because that's where you just like toss a bunch of shit that no one cares about. Of course they don't. But I mean, everyone's got different habits, and there's probably someone hearing this and be like, yeah, I fucking hate those things. Yeah. There are people who do, that's for sure. What is that? Oh, that's not right. But like, if you give people a reason to scroll through stuff, it will. And that's where like, I've had ideas of like making this a fucking moment. Whether it's, so I just like found some very different font, just so I can just, because I also want to break out of my own typography and do, this is very JP font, by the way. He like popularized these little gothic fonts. I think it was like some menu he did, and like all of a sudden everyone's rocking fonts like this. But I think having this is like a moment that introduces, so this is where it's like really annoying. I gotta duplicate things. Actually, I think there's probably a better way to do that. I could have it as one artboard, 2 separate exports. No, not quite at scales. But like making this like an editorialized moment. And this is, so I'm always on Pinterest. I've spent so much time here. This is a subtle plug, no ISO. So I don't even know how to pronounce it anymore. I'm going back and forth on no ISO, no ISO, and also whether it's just like so stupid and something that was clever in my head, but it's actually not, that I might want to change it, but that's something else. So collecting like editorial layouts, like after doing so much e-commerce design, you start loathing a lot of the restrictions and how every decision is tied back to a company's bottom dollar. And like you get into very long discussions about very detailed minutia, and kind of takes the soul out of it. Not to say there's abundance of soul in my work, but and this is where like I think there's a gap. Like I see all this editorial design and I just love it, but I don't feel my work is ever there. I think I got kind of like the Nixon website, I think created a niche within the agency as I was at, where we just kept getting more e-commerce work. So then all I was doing is e-commerce work, which makes sense. Like that's something that did pretty well, and we're gonna get more of it. But do I wish I could do kind of weird shit like this? Like, yes. That's where like if you look at some of my work for Basic, I just would take every chance to just get weird, like all sorts of shit that just would never fly. But yeah, so this is part of it, is it's partially selfish, of like I see this as an opportunity to just like practice design, because I've slept on design for the last like 3 years. I won't lie. I've been focusing on my photos. I've been focusing on learning video, learning all this other stuff, and design something like at this point kind of go on autopilot. There's definitely moments where you need to kind of push it, but for me it's, I don't know, it was always second. But now that like I'm kind of running up into some walls in photo, I think the next step is like bringing them together, and that's like with this stream. I'm not sure if you noticed the fancy transitions. Oh, didn't do it. Yeah, got my beer head back. Ooh, but it's like learning. Oh fuck, get that off of there. This is something I'm learning with freelance, is taking the opportunity, or like creating your own opportunities to do the shit that you want to do. Like I've wanted to do editorial stuff. I wanted to design around my photos. So like, how do I create something that's helpful? Like the output is helpful, but it's also something I genuinely want to do and I want to do more of, and I potentially want to do with other people, or like with collaborators, or clients, I guess is what most people call them. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm taking this as an opportunity. This is where like I think I'm gonna have the most fun, somewhere in this realm. I think it's good to systemize things, and I don't know, maybe I'll come back and do another session on that. Because a lot of this I'm finding like I'm just talking out loud, and I'm really not. This is kind of the problem with me and streaming so far, is I don't get a lot of output done, and I don't know. I'd love feedback from anyone watching this or who's made it this far, of like, what's more helpful? Like, should I just shut up and work? Because I definitely can, and you can watch me struggle. Or is it just like talk through reasonings of things? Because I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of like a junior. I think this is catered to probably people within these fields and people who are more junior. I'm just trying to make myself accessible. It's all this bullshit I've learned over the years. But I think like I need to have something productive. So okay. So I'm gonna start like structuring out these alts a little bit better. this is getting into like the story section, so I will move this out. A little space. I think information about the website is more important than these. I don't even think there's going to be alts for these. There may be. I don't know. It's kind of interesting if I want to like go dark again, but we'll see. So these need to move in line here. So these are alts as well. Oh, this is print stuff. See, this is where it just looks like a jumbled mess. So it used to be aligned. Screensaver. Okay, so this, I'm just gonna fucking drag it here. Screensaver. So this is both, and this is where it's like, I don't know where this goes. It's sit in the middle. Sure. I was looking at, I keep on coming back to like this projector look, and this is all done in Sketch actually. I was kind of happy that I got it to work. I wish I could do like a marquee, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And this is again like looking at this is an old copy for when I was trying to like talk about the print paper material. It's just like at this point not important. And with this, I mean, this would be self-explanatory. I think there's something to this. I may not dump this just yet. I don't think the red, I love like the red projection, especially on like teal, like dark stuff. Reminds me a lot of, what's that TV show? Mr. Robot. Got those intro titles, although it's not projection. I remember I did this for a year in review site, like 2016 or something. And I haven't been able to let go of it because it didn't get used. So registration marks are stupid. So are those. So it's that. So I'll keep these. I think there's something to it because like I think there's also the issue of becoming a victim of your own system. Like you can't see past it. And that's a real problem. You know what? A little more separation. And like my OCD will kick in it eventually and I'll evenly space these out and get them all aligned. So there's like a clear space through here that nothing violates. So another thing I was looking at, that's one thing I'll probably do is get like these alts. What you can do also is you can put labels on things. It messes with the layer cleanliness. And I'm really not making a good case for clean layers. I'm usually really OCD about it. But see how well that's going. So this is the wrong color. So I was looking at whether, like how this end state resolves. This to the bottom. So whether I mask out, so I created outlines of this copy, and then with this image, hit master, turn it off. Like it shows up in there a little bit more. Interesting. Like I could theoretically keep both, do both. This copy's not gonna fly. But see, this is like, it kind of looks just, this looks kind of gross. Not gonna lie. sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's where like maybe this color, when it gets edit master. So this was nice, is like if I update this symbol, I can see this one right next to it. So I can just select it, choose the swatch. This is right, I think. Isn't too saturated. Yeah, it doesn't really work. So it is interesting seeing how this is applied throughout. Okay, this is a fucking mess. Let's get this cleaned up. It's two for. This is here. I think just this has to go. There's really no. There's no point. I can't get that detailed with this form factor. I have to find out what other places can do that heavy lifting. TV app. Why do I have 3 of these? So that's not even gone. Simplify. I see this color is not showing up. So I might need to do something a little more saturated. Again, this is something where you just kind of test. This is the one that's interesting to me. Might as well make this clean. We're just using a solid color, it doesn't matter bastardizing it. And you can scale it up. I mean, technically that swatch could be a lot smaller. I'm going to be right back. Grab something to drink. All right, back at it. So, it is interesting seeing the color applied different ways. I think this is probably... It just looks so bad on this image, and that's kind of what's important to see sometimes. It's like if you have these images with like a lower focal point, yes, it's showing up there. It's still kind of weird. I don't know. This also feels unbalanced most of the time. Just with like the framing and the sizing of the matting. Because the idea is that, I think I did it, oh, I changed the canvas size. Actually, it should be the same. I don't know what, oh, I just fucked up with the canvas sizes. But, so, the computer screen and the TV are the exact same size. So, having those continuities, knowing it's 16 by 9, it's like, why not? The frame edge kind of works. I think it's a little thick on here. It's kind of like a shitty, older flat screen. Yeah, and I can't help doing stupid shit like this. Putting logos on there. No one will ever see it, but why the fuck not? I always bury some random shit in my designs. This one I'll do later. But I think, yeah, this type sucks. I almost want to just like move it off. But I'm sorry if I'm not making a ton of progress on the design. Like, I'm really trying to iron out this system of like this color, this image, this color, how it applies. How little work can I do? So what color? So if I'm going to do the find and replace every time, it's like what? Where's my go-to place? I mean, I have the symbol to modify it, but how do I ensure it's always staying the same? And the other thing with this is like, how do I hold on to everything? Do I create separate files every time I do a separate post? Which then it almost makes more sense to do a library. Kind of like the stuff I was doing, oh God, it gives me anxiety looking at that. With this stuff, where I can just like go create a new post, and like these whole layouts are symbols. And so I can create a new one basically and just copy that in a new document, which maybe I need to do. Yeah. Yeah, this one might be a bit of a struggle for a first design one. I think it's applicable because it is Instagram. But I think just like grinding out this system is probably not the most helpful. It might be helpful in terms of like, I don't know, help showing like my struggle, exemplifies the value of doing it properly, I would say. So I want all these. So what I'm going to do for right now is everything I want to inherit this color, I'm going to set to my red accent color. So this way, when I do the find and replace, it should be pretty good. Or I'll be able to pull my accent color from my swatches every time, knowing exactly what I'm going to be modifying. Granted, it's not the best for comping up and really understanding what that color should be, but that's okay. That can be tested. And this is, so I think I'm probably getting ahead of myself with like thinking this should be done after the design's final, basically. Just go black. Oh my god. This is a struggle right now. This can go. This up. That's gonna have to be much bigger if it's gonna stick around. I have, nope, not Little Snitch. Love Little Snitch. Recommend it. I could actually close it. What the fuck? So Little Ipsum. I'm so happy I made it to Big Sur. This is actually the first time I've used it since migrating to Big Sur. But it's just this really simple way of just getting different amount of lorem ipsum. Oh yeah, do that. So, potential layout. Okay. I'm talking myself into fucking circles with this. I'm going to, and this is like a glimpse into like how life is. I'm just like trying to figure out the best order, but simultaneously doing it in a way I think is right, and then immediately changing my mind, and then just spending hours churning. So I started using Things as an app just for organizing and creating accountability. My brother set me up with it. I'm not even using it to its full potential, but yeah, keeping like task-oriented, assigning it to days, I think is really helpful for people like me. Like if this seems familiar, you may want to look at Things. So that arrow is irrelevant now. What's this? Copy, paste. This is where the save styles would be great, but like I'm not sold on them yet. So I keep wanting to change them, and then they don't quite work. I just don't know. So like what JP was talking about earlier is like I have these backwards now. So just setting even spacing. This is where like some of these guides are actually really useful, unlike some Photoshop smart guides. But whether I can really speak to the value props on these. Like saying like matte acrylic, cheaper, ready to hang. And so this is, again, if you do mobile design, it's a really easy, it's an easy issue to get sucked into when you design at Retina. And this is beyond Retina. This is like really the size. It's somewhere around here. So while that looks really big and kind of heavy-handed, it's really probably pushing the limits on what you can do or what you can read. And I mean, like looking at this stuff here, that you could zoom in. I'm like torn whether I want people to zoom in because it's kind of not supernatural. Plus you're going, and people do all sorts of gestures. I don't know, probably overthinking it. And so this design is not great. Right now I'm just trying to map out everything I want to say, seeing if there's a way to do it. This type just looks like shit. How small can I go? Like, this is really boring type, but that's kind of the way it goes. So I'm going to test this out real fast. So I will have desktop, airdrop. It's really better than I thought. There's more room to give. Or I can even come down in size, so readability wise. I mean, this is aggressive, but this is where there's no one barking over my shoulder telling me. I always got fucking yelled at. It's like, goddamn type's too small. Yeah, probably is. What the fuck? That paper. Go here. This layers are embarrassing. Sorry. Don't judge me. See, this is not. I'd rather have things. So those are even off center. That's position. Fuck. And those are technically the same, but and the type layout's really boring and the shit's not centered. This is the problem with the tablet, is like you just like click and drag on shit and just move it inadvertently, just trying to select it. But you can also do center to canvas, which helps. I'm trying to think if there's a way to. So usually with this sort of stuff, I will. God, that's so cheesy. So this is the thing, like, you have to try this stuff. Like, you probably pretty sure it's gonna suck and it's gonna look stupid, but I think there's things you can learn and things you can pick up. Like, I think there was something nice in the fact that like this all lined up on a 45-degree angle with the 1 out of 10. It got me to design the 1 out of 10 that way, which I think is better than what I had. Wherever the fuck this. Get the fuck out of here. This also drives me crazy. Can't select something that's off a canvas? Or am I just being stupid? Only way I know to do it is then just like using arrows and moving it. Oh, now it's on the artboard. I don't know what just happened. Deleting it. I don't have the patience right now. So my process is usually like start with something safe that kind of checks off all the boxes. I think the spacing's atrocious. Why did it light up? But it's like I see the mat being the through line here, so how do I potentially it's probably one of those things that's gonna force it. And this is where it's like it's really uncomfortable for me to do this shit. There's probably no one here, which is like the great irony of it, but having the perception that someone's watching and where is it? This is like the shit that like designers just hate. Like the hovering art directors is I think I'm finally in a spot where I'm kind of like when I was in an office I'd never shoulder hawk anyone, but sometimes these poor souls, which I've had it happen, I've had about 6 or 7 people around me as I'm designing. Everyone's fucking chiming in about their opinions on shit, like, god damn it. It's the worst. But that's kind of how I feel right now. You guys are hovering art directors. And so my brain, just thinking out loud, sees the through line of this and sees a potential for kind of continuity. But the problem is, who the fuck cares about matte? Matte is not like a premium thing in my eyes. I mean, I like it because it's simple in terms of like it doesn't get in the way of the image, it reduces glare. So it is a good thing to me, but it's not like it's not something that I want like that much attention to. I guess it is. I mean, it's might be something to this. That is centered. This is the problem when you try and center type like this. There's always that little extra like space at the end of the characters. Maybe it's not doing it. No. It always flatten it. You really want to. This is tablets and menus. So if you flatten a bitmap, you can see the bounds of it. It's actually doing a pretty good job of not adding any of that extra space. So that's pretty good. Sometimes the selection in Sketch makes me want to pull my very short hair out of my head. Move that out of the folder. I don't know. I keep saying how I try and be good about folder structures. I just like absolutely botch it all. Try and create parity. It's kind of an inverse hierarchy, which is a little weird, but the symmetry is kind of nice. And so if I want to try and be consistent with how I'm doing the end frame, I want to get it all across. Fuck. Outline. I just remembered the. There it is. So usually I'll try and create a copy first. Off. I just had it. Outline. Wrong one. Convert to outlines. So once you do this, you can't go back and edit it clearly, so they're all individual paths. And Sketch actually gets really fucking weird when you start scaling these. Sometimes it just doesn't. It's a pretty good job with that. Yeah. Well, what I should do. Like 30 opacity. This at red, so you can see it. So let's start doing. Start deleting letters. Oh. The idea being, like, I don't know, it kind of makes it more of like a design element, not so much about like, holy shit, it's matte. Oh, fuck. I don't know if it's really working. I regret that. Yeah, it needs to kind of like hold its edge a little bit. I think it's getting too reductive. And a second. It's debatable whether that's even readable anymore. Yeah, that's where that shit just is not gonna work. Time. 2 o'clock. should be able to do this for a while today. Just gotta catch up on some shit. Sorry, I just gotta. Actually, I gotta grab a snack real fast too. Pretty sure you don't want to listen to me eat, so I'll be right back. Okay. Cliff Bar lunch. Doing it. So this failed spectacularly. Helps if I have the right copying. I don't know what the value. This is where I could probably pull from my site. Why would you switch? Fuck. everything's showing up on my iPad now when I switch apps, so I have to kind of bounce around. Yeah, this is... I'll work on that. I don't know if this is the right answer either. I think it's trying to do too much. I do limited. Condition. Mixed emotions on. The 1 to 10 now. It doesn't seem right. But I know I can make this smaller. That small. This is what's annoying. So you're gonna have these bounding boxes and you're trying to find center. And it's still using some, like the size of a text box to determine its canvas size. So you always have to like offset and kind of guess a little bit. You could go through and clean it up, but I usually don't. And so this, like, from a hierarchy perspective, is just looking really strange. It's like this is almost like something that belongs just tucked in a corner somewhere. Or if it's just like spoken to on I can't put on the image. I do number them. Maybe that's enough. Because the real, like, what's funny is like I actually like dropping the whole mat entirely. So the fact that I was trying to make these layouts work, it's not important. The acrylic and the paper material is what's important because of what that means. Kind of what JP was talking about before in the chat of like what it means to have these different materials, and how it's matte really isn't the determining factor. Matte is the finish that factors into it. It's low glare, doesn't really impact the image fidelity, but it's more that these are available as prints. It's almost like limited edition prints. So this is where type styles would be ideal in terms of creating continuity. Why is this in Helvetica? Get the fuck out of here. So something about like when I use the Apple symbol, I guess I don't have the Apple character in my font, is the problem. It like doesn't know what to do, so it like has some instance of Helvetica, but even though it's gone, in a separate piece of copy, it's still problematic. So this feels super ham-fisted, but again, this is the trouble of designing so zoomed in. Just don't. The proportions look wrong, like it looks just off. I don't want to get in that problem again. Just turn that off. See, and this just creates like a weird balance. I'm guessing available as is implied. So this is where I'll just start shotgunning. I just really gotta swallow my pride a little bit. Just go for shit. But I would do in the security of my own time and space. What designer doesn't want big fonts? That's a trick question. The justifiedness is such dog shit. That's a problem with. I'm gonna keep this even as little as I like it. Problem with designing in Sketch is like the type is just so limited. What's nice is you can do Jesus Christ, my brain. You can do open type features, but you have to go through this menu, which is kind of painful every time you want to do it. But yeah, pros and cons. Everyone loves to just like say what their tools are. It's like cool. This about that one. Yeah, whatever tools work for you is the one you should use. People out there just like taking pride oddly in what their tool of choice is. Like, why? Who cares? This is where like I don't like many designers, to be very honest. Designers are kind of the fucking worst. They're just not good people. I don't know what it is. There's some really good ones out there. Some of my very, very best friends are designers. There are good ones, but there's just so many shitty ones. And this goes back to like, college, all my classes. It's always just this pissing match for attention that designers seem to really enjoy. It just drives me fucking crazy. It's ironic that I want to like pull designers together, but they're such shitheads sometimes that I can't stand them. Trying to find the good ones though. They are out there. So this is kind of why it's good to just try shit. And it, like, I'm still, oh my god, these layers are so gross. I'm still trying to get comfortable with this. I don't know if this is it. The value props to me might be too much. I think there's something kind of interesting to this. If I could get this type. Get this type sorted out. So this is where ideally I have my layout set up, but I didn't set that up first, so I can't count on them. Now I don't even know what the margins are on this, or what my margins are on this in general, which is good. I'm basically going center and then going all the way out to whatever this takes. Thankfully these all kind of line up. And it's like, how do I blend mode? Yeah, I don't even know if I finished my thought anymore. This is kind of where my head's at. Like trying stupid shit like this. Like going really big with type and then seeing like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity to squeeze shit in between there. It's kind of creating a different visual language the way it's going, but it's like really fucking terrible ideas can generate some decent ideas. Not saying this is it, because it's going over absolutely everything. So this is where I'll just make another copy. I will select all my copy, go to scale. Ooh. Why did you do it that way? If I go small. I don't get why they did that. Yeah, see when smaller it doesn't have like the kind of the tie that this does. And like I know all these alignments and spacing and shit's all wrong. Yeah, it's not terrible. But in terms of like how it's spaced in between, this is centered. I'm eyeballing the shit out of everything right now. That's where I can do another one. Thoughts of that projection again. Old habits die hard. Turns into pink. So, what that turns into. Yeah, and see, that's not really my brand at all. I'm trying to be more like contrast. This just feels gross. So you try this shit sometimes and like it just doesn't work. Because yes, this works, but like there's gotta be something better. That's not it. And so this is where I'll go jump on Pinterest. Have all these, oh my god, all these editorial layouts. And like I'll never copy something, but I will get inspired heavily by this stuff. And sometimes it's just like the way, like one thing that's jumping out is like how this text is copied or cropped off with like separation of color. That could be something to explore. Even if it's just like sparking ideas of just like having larger images, but having copy just like knocked out. It seems really basic, but it kind of work. I'd love to do something like this. Like, that's the weird thing about doing personal projects is like, I can. And there's just this weird separation between my work and the shit that I like. And I don't hate my work, but it just feels underwhelming most of the time. And like, this is bringing back ideas of stuff that I had, like this. Oh my god, stupid iPad. Get rid of this before I forget. Close this. I can't believe I'm streaming my struggles. This is not comfortable. Hopefully someone gets something out of this. So let's say limited edition isn't the big story here. Copy. Fuck, what are you doing? So, negative 20? No, negative 35. I don't always like my font, but this is one of the instances where it feels pretty good. And like, this is, that stemmed from the, like, I don't know. I think this is getting much, like a much better area. And like, this is the dog shit you gotta go through. It's like, don't overthink shit. Question is, does it scale to, how does it work with paper? Rid of this guy, what is this? What's this? Okay. Ooh, it's got lowered. This is where my font needs work. It's lowercase is pretty gross. You'll see, like, between the G's and the Y's, that's not how fonts are supposed to go. It's not awful. It's just kind of weird that there's no theme between it, but that's a different story. So, then again, if I come back to the idea of combining things, maybe. That's right, I put an opacity on the frame so it inherits some of the colors underneath. Fuck you. This gonna get greasy? No, it's doing well. So if I bisect the type there, and I bisect it here. Now with this, I have to get some backing, or I just need to go full opacity. But I can achieve the same, so if I know, I don't know if I have background color in here yet. I'm gonna clean up my layers. I'm just gonna do it off of the stream, because that is not something anyone should be subjected to. So I have my background color, this to the back. This is supposed to be 30%. So what I can do is I can use that same color, because I have this at an opacity. No, I'm being stupid. No, am I? I mean, always, but. I can keep the print inheriting, or the frame inheriting some of that background color. But see, that's too much. That should just be white. That's right. So more what I was trying to do is have it kind of like a softer contrast, kind of like wash out. So the mock-up I created, again, something I just like composited in Photoshop. Why are you doing that? Give me the regular bounding box, you fuck. So some of the contrasts in there weren't quite what I was hoping for. So kind of a cheat is to just make it at an opacity. It's kind of gross. I'm not proud of it, but ideally then I would go back and recreate, or I'd just modify the other one. Not super crazy. I think the type's working decently. So maybe combining it isn't the answer. This is where I can get stupid with my ligatures. Stretch that fucker too. I will say, there's so much like trendy stretch type going on, and I never meant for my font to be like a stretch. These were just alts that I came up with, and I ran out of time. I want to come up with all sorts of different alts. If you don't know, it's all on my, all on the case study for my font on my site. But creating like this custom syntax for me to just do custom characters, it really just feels like it's like a normal font plus stretch, but I don't want it looked at that way. Like literally everyone who's out of ideas just does like a stretch font. It's the same with like outline fonts. Sorry, I know a lot of people use those. But I equate that as like you're out of ideas. So you just put a fucking outline on it. That's an oversimplification. There are times where it reduces hierarchy, and it has a place, for sure. Yeah, I just don't think this is it. Okay. I think this compositing is not it. Oh, fuck. Print lockup. This is what I used on the site. So I should probably do, what's this? What's this? Oh yeah, I was gonna put lamps in. Bougie as fuck. This isn't that. This is one of the ideas. I don't know. I think it just, there's too much. It's a distraction and it like creates, I don't want people to be super fucking bougie. I think they have to be bougie to buy a print. Like, that's not it. What is this? Sorry, I'm just learning all sorts of really gross stuff that's going on with my file. Back, go. What's this? What is this? What is going on? Huh. That's from Webflow. I don't know. What is this? What is going on here? Not full size. That's 75%. This is flattened version. Fuck off. So my atmospherics on here. Yep. That I should just, I'm gonna keep it just because you never know. You have a change of heart. Just don't get why it's, oh, because the wall. That's why. Sorry, we're not that bougie. Well, that's right, I had a couch too. Look out. Try to put shit in for scale, but it just got simpler to not have it. I looked at like just doing like full blown images. I think that works for this. I mean, yeah, it sticks out quite a bit. Needs different atmospherics for that. I think it works for the wall. But I should do a, so this is paper print. Let's do that. Acrylic. So I'll keep the image canvas size the same. This is the shadow, which we should just get rid of. Rid of the paper print. So what's this? This is the frame. Don't need that. That's the matte backing. We don't need that. What is this? No, this is the matte backing. No, that's the outer frame. Yeah. That. Alright, let's do some damage here. So we need to get this signature. So we gotta turn the atmospherics off because that'll always fuck up everything. Acrylic. So invert that. That's easy. So what I usually do for this sort of thing is I'll just, you can always like duplicate the base shape. You can make a smart object and still make it based in like a vector format ultimately, but really kind of no need. Yeah, so we'll do this as like the soft shadow, so we'll do a Gaussian blur. I don't know how accurate it really is, but it always feels like there's kind of like a soft shadow behind things, even if it's kind of harder light, like even with some of this stuff. Like this is kind of where I think there is a broader shadow here. There's more of like an angular shadow that's happening through here. So again, the key to compositing is thinking of like a very consistent light source. Like what are the characteristics of this light? Like where is it coming from? Like the darker version of this, it's like coming through a window and you can actually see the windows overlaying this, which I don't think I got perfect, but tried. So I'll generally start with like a soft shadow. It kind of just helps pop things off a little bit. Shit's popping off, bruh. So then so if I think about, I don't know, it's either that way or that way. That's where my light source is. I usually do like a perfectly top down, but I decided to do it a little differently for this one. So what I will do, so if you know how perspective works, you know like everything funnels into that point. So I'm mentally just trying to map out like what that angle is from these different places. So it'll be a little steeper if it's up top. Like it's not going to be as steep on the top up here, but from here it should be a little steeper. Okay, let's go to here. Oh my god, tablet. I think I'm getting old. My precision with the tablet is absolutely fading. What is this? And you'll see like 3/4 of my time is spent just like confused on what the fuck is going on. So this will be a bit softer. And so this is where it kind of gets, like, I try to use gradients when I can. Sometimes you have to start painting shit in. So you just start like layering in like opacity driven gradients. So there's no way you're going to see the bottom of that shadow. But another thing to consider is that it's never, so if it's actually lifted off the surface, the shadow is going to be a little bit behind, like inset. I think I went too far though. Not that dramatic. It's really like, it's only like 1/8 of an inch. So knowing actually what this looks like helps. Having real world references. Sure, it's not a surprise, but it certainly helps things. So this looks too strong still. If I want to do like wholesale changes without like doing too much, I just draw these long gradients and it does like soft sweeps. Just kind of like chips away. So it looks a little too strong still. Down here. I don't know. Sometimes I'll even just go with the like a really like super soft, low opacity. Problem is like when you add back in on masks, it comes back way quicker than when you take it away. So I've been removing it 80% of gradients. Granted, like I get it, it's not like a full opacity thing with gradients almost ever, but like, I don't know. This seems to have a stronger effect. So I'm just like kind of tapping around, bringing it back. I actually might go up a little bit. This just seems too... I don't even think the angle's right. At the end of the day. I don't know if I can save it or if I have to redo it. Transform, warp. Oh, what did they do? Can't. Bugs. I don't think the perspective was right. This looks better. Yeah, I think I was overselling the difference in degrees. So again, I'll come back in with the brush, just start tapping away. This is where it's like if you don't have a pen, like doing this with a mouse, good luck. You can do it. I've seen people hammer away at it. I actually don't know a lot of people who do compositing anymore, but dying breed. All you kids these days have all these fancy assets ready for you. So I'm going to add a little bevel and emboss on here. Light, yes please. Oh, actually. Fuck, you can't undo and edit to... Sorry. This shit is maddening sometimes. It's like, why is this something you can't do? So what I'm doing is with layer effects, so bevel and emboss, basically just creates, you can do different contours, kind of like show like different edge types, but basically like if you think about light hitting, it'll do the top of a shape in white as if like the light's hitting it, and then the underneath will be dark. I don't know if I probably don't need to get into the nuances of Photoshop, but if you have questions and you're actually here, definitely feel free to ask. I don't really use the drop shadow, and I do sometimes. So what I'm going to add after this, I just don't know if I can do it this way or not. It's kind of this actually, this size. For me, the trick of compositing is layering things on just subtly, because I do think there's like an immediate cast shadow and then there's like a broader shadow. This is something I should be able to speak to better, doing like intro art classes and shit, diagramming how light falls on things. I give them a lot of credit for that. Although they might look at this in horror. So I'm really not liking that. Just in general, I'm not really liking this. Oh. So this is the soft shadow. Then I have the immediate shadow with the drop shadow. I just don't think it's... I think it works for something more pronounced like this, where there's a lot more volume to it, but... I mean, I got it to work decently here. Why can't I replicate that? Let's try it. It's the same size like it should be. What? 3750. Oh, it's not the same size. It's those two. Okay, so this is like 50%. About. Yeah, not too far off. It's too strong still. It just looks like a muddied mess. I don't know what's going on in my brain right now. Struggle is real. Fuck. Softy. That just doesn't look. This is where it's kind of new. I'm not used to doing angled lines. Most times it's just like one singular light. This makes things really easy. A little more dynamic, it's a little more difficult. Doesn't really look believable. Try it again. Oh, don't paste that fucking color in there again. Alright. Keep that. See if I were to. Nudging this thing around. Shit, what time is it? Fuck, almost 3 hours. I might need to jump off kinda soon. Shit. Right, I think the atmospherics will bring this together a little bit. Probably not advised. Oh, definitely not advised. So I do kind of blow out. I have like a light source on the top. I hope this is. I don't know what's going on with this file. These atmospherics are not right. This should be doing is using pure white. So if we're gonna layer things on, definitely do it with a pure white. Go soft light, opacity. So this gives it like the light source is actually there. You can kind of see it starts washing things out with the print. The grains in here. This again, like I need to get away from this because the grain's really not believable at all. I'd rather be doing those things in, like I was saying, DaVinci. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, usually I have images in there I could test with, but not right now. Yeah, the shadow that's happening underneath is not good here. I'm almost inclined just to go back to it. I don't know. I think I'm getting in my own head about it being fucked up. And that's my thing. This. Doing that. Shadow. This is the one where the shadow is creeping around the side, which it shouldn't be doing. It's better. Ideally, so if you have 55 pixel blur radius, God, you would pull it in 100 or so you don't get bleed off on the edges. It's not that one. This. So yeah, 55 pixel blur. You want to pull that in at least 100. So you can see the edges start getting cleaner. While it's not like truly representational of this, like, and you kind of get into a problem here where like you have, because it's just pushing down like through the center, so there's like a gap to where you like tucked it in. Ideally you're doing it off of like an angled shape, but yeah. You get one more. I'm curious. I like the simplicity, but it's because I can't be helped. I like repetition and rhythm. Do I like it here? Probably not. Kind of nice, it's like the same size. sold. It's interesting. So this is one where I'll keep it. No. No. I mean, of these so far, I think this is getting into the best spot. This is trash. This is trash. But at least it's, I don't know, it's so uncomfortable to do. And I gotta get better about it. This whole design stream in general, I'm sure was kind of rough around the edges. I apologize. I'm still like, because it's more like logic-based stuff than photo editing. Photo editing is just like purely aesthetic. It's not so much like aesthetic plus structure behind it. And I think I'm trying to grapple right now with like, how do I do both without boring people who want to just see me make shit and see like end product type stuff, or the type of people who want to understand the process. So again, this is where I know it's going to take time of like people getting, like having some of the dialogue with like JP and some of the others is great. I would love to do more of that, where it's just like kind of questions as it applies, so I can just like do whatever and not feel obligated to just proactively address everything, because I don't know if that's helpful. So again, subscribers slowly going up. You like it? Tell a friend. Ring that bell, dude. Gotta say it. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just gonna call it here. I think this is so kind of with where things are parting. I think things are getting to a better space. And so it's also like looking at how maybe these solutions work, but do they work within the system of things that I know I like? I know I like how something like this has turned out. Like to me, this is, I'm happy with this, although not this type placement. Shit's like still moving around. Like this feels really balanced and like in the wheelhouse that I want to be in. So that's another lens. It's like finding solutions for each of these, but then having it ladder back up to like a consistent feel, which I would argue some of these are not. Like these pieces of shit. But those pieces of shit are which, I don't know, at least I have to go through in order to get something that starts feeling decent. Like for everything that I finish, there's probably like, I don't know, there's so many of these alts that just like, I don't know, they just build up. But it's good to have, and like if you're not pressed for file size or file space, keep them. Never know. I've come back to shit that I thought was trash in the moment, and it sparked an idea for something else. But yeah, so gonna ladder that back up. I think I'm gonna iron out some of these systems. Maybe I'll come back on a stream and do a part 2 where I have that figured out instead of trying to figure it out now, because it's, I think, painful even for me, like thinking about it, let alone articulating it and having anyone else listen to it. So yeah, that's all I got. Again, done with work. I'll probably be streaming more, so either don't turn in or tune in, or if there's like something you wish I would do, definitely say it. So yeah, I'll be back.